Little bit of a shot there at Deion and his program at Colorado.
Are those aspects a very young player that really didn't grow up in a pro-style offense?
Deion worked very hard to bring in as many NFL-style people and people that had NFL connections and people that could basically teach Shedeur how to do that. And like some of the responsibility that might have fallen through the cracks there at Colorado, for Monken to highlight that, if anything, that showcases to you, I think what he's trying to explain is the idea that he didn't think Shedeur was ready enough or prepared enough to go ahead and play last year, and he feels like he's going to be able to get him there.
All right, hold up. We got to talk about Coach Todd Monken for a second. Because recently, Coach Todd Monken pulled up on ESPN, and he gave a very honest take, a real unfiltered opinion on Shedeur Sanders.
Just for big picture on Shedeur, just year one, just what you see on film?
I think you see playmaking ability. I think you see a player that is confident in his skill set. So when you see that playmaking ability and inner confidence, you say, okay, there's something to work with there. So I think that's the thing that excites you. I said it this morning that 15 or 20 years ago, they would have said that Shedeur Sanders was athletic. They would have said he could escape. Well, the game's changed so much to now he's not a mobile quarterback. No, he's mobile. He's just not as mobile as what we've come to. We've come to where Lamar Jackson or the quickness that these players have, their escapability is completely changed from when it was. But I do think what you see on tape are those aspects, a very young player that really didn't grow up in a pro-style offense. It's not his fault. That's okay. I was at Oklahoma State with Brandon Weeden, and we were air raid, and he got drafted here. He didn't grow up in that. That's not their fault.
All right, listen to this. Just looking at the bigger picture with Shedeur in year one, purely off the film, the first thing that pops is his playmaking ability. You also see a quarterback who's confident in what he brings to the table, and that combination, yeah, that gives you something real to build on. That's the part that should get you excited if you're paying attention. And here's the thing. 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago, people would have easily labeled Shedeur Sanders as athletic. They would have said he can move, extend plays, and get out of trouble. But hold up. The game has evolved so much now that the standard for mobile is completely different. He's still mobile, just not on that Lamar Jackson level that's reset everybody's expectations. And that's not a knock, that's just the reality of how the position has changed. What really stands out on tape is that raw ability and upside. You're looking at a young quarterback who didn't come up in a traditional pro-style system. And honestly, that's not even his fault. That's just how the game is now. The coach even brought up his time at Oklahoma State with Brandon Weeden. They were running an air raid, a totally different system, and he still got drafted into the league. That just shows you development doesn't stop at college. And did y'all catch that part? They said they've got something there. That's not the kind of confidence we were hearing from the previous coaching staff. This is a coach stepping up, taking accountability, and at the same time, building his quarterback up. To me, that wasn't a shot at Deion Sanders or Colorado at all. That sounded like a coach saying, give me the raw talent and I'll do my job. Because at the end of the day, no matter what system you played in during college, the NFL is a completely different level. And once he gets his hands on him, the responsibility shifts. That development, that's on him now.
A little bit of a shot there at Deion and his program at Colorado.
I don't think it's a shot to say that wasn't a pro-style offense.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a pro-style offense, but Deion worked very hard to bring in as many NFL-style people and people that had NFL connections and people that could basically teach Shedeur how to do that. And like some of the responsibility that might have fallen through the cracks there at Colorado, for Monken to highlight that, if anything, that showcases to you, I think what he's trying to explain is the idea that he didn't think Shedeur was ready enough or prepared enough to go ahead and play last year, and he feels like he's going to be able to get him there.
So when Coach Monken said Shedeur didn't grow up in the pro-style offense, hold up. What he was really talking about was the scheme. Because let's be honest, the media loves to twist language and make it sound deeper than it is. A pro-style offense isn't a grade, and it's definitely not an insult. It's simply a description of how the system is run. We're talking about snaps under center, calling plays in the huddle, and going through full-field multi-read progressions. And here's the part people keep skipping over. You know who else didn't come from a pro-style system in college? Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes. Nobody sat there questioning whether their coaches failed them. So when certain voices in the Cleveland media try to imply that Deion didn't prepare him, you gotta pause and ask, prepared him compared to who? No, seriously, compared to who? Because if we're being real, by every measurable standard, Colorado developed a quarterback who turned into a Pro Bowl level player as a fifth-round rookie, doing it on limited snaps early in the season. That doesn't sound like someone who wasn't ready. That sounds like someone who came into the league prepared to play.
Everything they tell me from, I guess, he asked his teammates, from Todd Monken, what he said. And I go back and Sims and what's the name, Florio was talking about it. He said, man, don't nobody make no big deal of you changing your number if you're not gonna be the starter, or if you're not gonna be a dude that they're thinking about playing.
I've been building this take for a while, so I don't think this is not going to be like, oh, did you hear Nick's new take?
Okay.
But I think I'm going to write it in stone with a small caveat.
Okay.
Because today's about finality, right? Mel Kiper's final mock draft of the season.
Yeah, because apparently eight days away is the time that you do this.
Everyone's like, this is who this team is going to everybody's doing it across Odyssey of all the many stations.
Yeah.
We have 7 more shows to do before night one of the NFL draft.
Yeah, a lot of shows.
Like, you think of the content at the very least here. All right. So I am pretty convinced that this is all just built. I don't think this is a legitimate quarterback conversation. I think this is about Shedeur doing everything they say, and if he does it, he's going to be the starting quarterback because that's what this is gearing up for. And the only caveat is if they love somebody in the draft that if Ty Simpson is the 6th pick that we just don't know.
There's somebody that we just don't know.
Yes.
Because the other explanation is it's Shedeur versus Deshaun, and neither one of us is taking that any bit serious to begin with anyway.
On my way into work today, I heard LaShawn McCoy talking about Deshaun Watson should start because they owe him money, or Jimmy should get something else out of it. And so those are going to always be talking points. And besides, what is it, April 14th? You kind of need something to talk about. I think that Deshaun Watson is going to be highly motivated, and I think that Deshaun Watson is going to do everything that he can to try to win this quarterback competition. The problem is, me personally, I'm a long way away from those days to where I actually trusted Deshaun Watson to stay healthy, trusted that Deshaun Watson can perform like he did in 2020. Right now, the only thing that I trust is that he's highly motivated to go out here and compete for the starting job. Past that, I can't say I trust much else.
So it is the off season. It is April. This does feel familiar, right? Yeah. But it's a long way away. So locally, you're closer to it. Well, Deshaun, it's been years. It's been a year and a half since he's played at all. And that game that Ian Rappaport referenced is going back to November of 2023, right? It's like that's a long way away. And locally, I think there's a better feel that Logic and the Browns too often have not been friends. All Logic says is Shedeur Sanders. All Logic says Shedeur deserves the chance, needs the chance, is the most direct line to getting away from Deshaun Watson. So as I've heard these same things through these months and through my travels and talk to people, media, work in the league, there is a shrug your shoulders like they're paying them. Like that's how teams operate. And we'll see. A week from today, they will be on the field for a mini camp, and there will be an all too early impression argument. Somebody's got to be first, right? Somebody's got to judge on what's going to be seen there. But all Logic continues to say that the best thing for the Cleveland Browns is to give Shedeur Sanders every chance, every ounce of runway, every opportunity to win this job. And if he can win it, if he can keep it, if he can grow and sustain, that's great. But there is no way that in the Cleveland Browns' long or short-term thinking that they should be thinking Deshaun Watson's the best for this team in 2026, because 2023 and 2020 were both a long time ago.
Yeah, and listen, it's really starting to look like the Browns are finally approaching this the right way. And I said this a while back, if everything is even and both guys walk into training camp on equal footing, then Shedeur Sanders should be the one who gets the nod. Because let's be real, there's a real buzz building right now. People are actually excited about the Cleveland Browns again. People are paying attention. And I don't care how much money was tied up in Deshaun Watson, you're not getting that back. That contract was fully guaranteed. At some point, you just have to accept the loss, and the only way to make up for that kind of hit is if you've got something bigger and better already in the building. And right now, it's looking like the Browns might actually be seeing it that way, or at least they're looking at it through the same lens I've been talking about. But I want to hear from y'all. Go ahead and drop your thoughts down below in the comments like always. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button for me one time. As usual, peace and chaos.